Have you ever wondered what makes a democracy truly vibrant? It's the power of choice, the power to elect leaders who will steer the course of a nation. As we edge closer to the South African general elections of 2024, this power of choice becomes more significant than ever. Welcome to another episode of Road to 2024 SA Elections, hosted by yours truly, K. Scott.
Ignite the mind. Welcome back to another exciting and political conscientizing episode of Road to 2024 SA Election. Joining me back on studio now is no longer the guest, but allow me to introduce to you our new co-host, which is the General PM Matebian. As you might have watched the last video, I wanted to ask him a favor, but unfortunately it happened that our camera went off. So most of the things were said off camera, and fortunately he agreed to be part of us on this channel. So round of applause for the new host. Mr. Matebian, how are you, sir?
I am grateful to the welcome and thanks to the viewers back at home. And I want to express my gratitude for having extended your invitation to me to be your co-host. I think it's a privilege and a pleasure for me to have a platform to speak to the multitudes back at home.
All right. You've heard the General himself. He's grateful and he appreciates the opportunity that is given to him. To me, I felt like it's me who's being praised with his intellect. Because from what I've seen, he's an intellectual guy. So that's why I decided to ask him to be the host of this show. Thank you guys for the support and the love that you have shown us. Once more, please follow this channel on TikTok. You just search on the search bar, Road to 2024 SA Elections. You will see an account with the South African flag. You follow the channel and like our videos, please. And also on YouTube, subscribe there, like our videos. It helps a lot with the algorithm so that these videos can be spread throughout the country. So please guys, let us follow. Let us subscribe, like, and leave a comment if you have something that you would like us to talk about, or there's an additional information that you might feel it's important to be given to the people. So last time when we spoke, the camera went off, so most things were said off cam. I think it's going to be fair if we just recap a little bit. Because last time we spoke, we were speaking about the matter of Gwede, then the cameras went off. Yes. So as we were speaking about that matter, we were agitating on matters that were related to that statement that Gwede said. So can you just please recap the audience?
The concept they use take over is a material concept. The concept is our time to eat.
Oh yeah, on that matter of the Mandashi's statement, whereby he was rebuking Colin Malachi for his utterances regarding the policy on who or how should be the representation in terms of age groupings in Parliament. So Colin's agitation was that the ANC Youth League is going to agitate or advocate for 50% representation of the youth.
So how does it show like the eager for power? Because what Colin is saying, for me, I feel like it's reasonable. It's been a while. The country has been under power of old people. At some point, we need to give the youth a chance. So like, how is it like a sign of being hungry for power if they are calling for 50% old people and 50% youth?
I think it's mainly because of arrogance from people who have been in the movement for far too long. People like Gwede Mandashe, Ace Makashule, they tend to display that sense of arrogance whereby they portray themselves as demigods in the ANC as a movement because they feel that they've been there for too long.
So they feel like they know everything.
Yes, they know everything and no one can do better than them. They think the movement will not exist without them or beyond them, which is something that I think they need to put in their senses, that there were people like Walter Sisulu in the past, there were people like Wodi Matambo in the past, there were people like Charlotte Mateke in the ANC, and even today there are still revolutionaries who are still advocating for a revolution in our country and in the diaspora, Africa in particular.
Okay, speaking of ANC leaders, I want us to talk about their Secretary General, Fikile Mbalula. This is how it's my opinion. Fikile Mbalula has been in different ministries. He was once the Minister of Sports, Minister of Police, Minister of Transport, now he's the Secretary General. So from what I see, I'm not sure, I feel like they are grooming him for something.
Something bigger.
I think they are grooming him for president. Let me just say it out. They are grooming him for president. How do you see that? What's your take on that?
Well, I think that one is a complicated matter because for someone to become the ANC president after Cyril Ramaphosa, we are not sure if that person will ultimately accept to the president of the country as a whole, because we are still having a tempting issue of not being sure if whether the ANC will get the majority, the outright majority of 50 plus 1% in order to be the outright government. However, in terms of the ANC politically as an organization, I think they're trying to groom him to become someone of influence, because the position of the secretary is the most influential position in the ANC. People who became secretaries ultimately became bigger in the movement. However, it is not always the case that they will become presidents, because we had Gwede recently. He never ascended and then he went to become a chairperson. So still, it's going to be difficult because factional politics will be involved. You remember in the ANC there are so many factions. There are so many factions advocating for Paul Mashatile. Remember now Paul is the deputy. The deputy. So ultimately he will become the president once Cyril Ramaphosa finishes his second term, which he was elected recently in the previous conference. So the issue of Fikile Mbalula, I remember a certain anchor on SABC1 asked Julius Malema this question. I don't know if it was sarcastic or what. He said, who do you think will become the president first between you and Mbalula? And Julius Malema just laughed it off to say Mbalula doesn't stand any chance, but we don't care about the ANC. We care about the EFF, and the EFF is the government in waiting and is going to govern South Africa in the 2024. So he was being optimistic to say we are going to get the outright majority as the EFF, which in my view, I think it might be a bridge too far for them at the moment, but in the near future.
It might happen.
Yes, but I don't see the ANC as well gaining the outright majority. So I'm still holding firm to my position that we are going to have a coalition government. Yes.
And from what you just said, the coalition government is not something that I think is going to work for this country. The country is trembling already and it's going to fall under coalition governments. Why am I saying that? I'm not sure if you heard in Gauteng and KZN, there is a problem. The ANC wants to cut ties with the EFF in Gauteng.
Yes.
Because the Secretary General of the ANC feels like the EFF now in Gauteng is eating on the voter base of the ANC.
Yes.
So this coalition government is going to give us problems. But then from what's happening in Gauteng, what's your take on that? What's happening? What did we hear? Because what I heard is that the ANC wants to cut ties. And I heard Malema speaking on Metro FM about that, and also Snawo Tambo, their spokesperson, he was at Newsroom Africa. But Snawo said that the ANC and the EFF, they are not in coalition. That's the reason why the ANC now wants to break out. It was just a working relation, he said it like that. So what do you say on that?
I hold a strong view that coalition governments are not stable. They've proven to be unstable in our country, whereby councils were being elected after a fortnight, a week after a week, a new council is elected. There are motions of no confidence to remove a certain leader, party leader for the other one, which is just recycling of the same people from the same pot. So it is a scary future for us if we are going to have a national government which will be in a coalition arrangement. So the issue of the ANC wanting to pull out from its working relation with the EFF as now Tambo are used to it. I have read the letter which was written by the ANC chair in that province, in Gauteng, I think, instructing the Secretary General that we want to formally distance ourselves from the ANC and EFF relationship because we do not think it is yielding the results or it is not turning out to be what we thought it was going to be. But because in most cases when these parties get involved in coalition agreements, what they put on the table is not mainly the interest of the people. It is not about their manifestos. It is about what are we going to get in turn. If we elect you as a council, which portfolio are you going to give us? Are you going to give us the position of the speaker, or are you going to give us the MEC position for safety, for health, or for water and sanitation? So those are the things that they put on the table. It's not the interest of the people. It is not what they wrote in their manifestos. It's about what are we going to get as a political party. So I think that is where the tangling issue can arise from, whereby a certain party gets elected and doesn't want to share power with the other parties. So even recently I've seen and noted with concern that there are some ANC leaders who are jealous that ANC, EFF MECs are doing well in their portfolios respectively.
Because that's the issue, because it started there. That's why the ANC feels like now the EFF will eat on their voter base.
Yes.
So they are pushing.
I saw even yesterday there was a certain person reported a sewage spillage on the road on Twitter, was complaining about it to say the EFF is responsible for water and sanitation in Tswana, but we are having a pothole on a sewage spillage on the road. So in 24 hours later it was fixed. So instead of uploading that response, that agent response, ANC people were saying it was just for politicking, it was not for the people. So that is the case. It's a matter of feeling jealous or inferior to the other. When someone is doing greater than you, it is easy for you to assume that they will engulf your support base. I think that is the case.
Okay. And speaking of coalition again, what happened in Gauteng, it happened also in the council in eThekwini. Because I saw this video, I think I'm going to show it here on the screen for the viewers to see. The EFF councillors were fighting with security guards. Apparently they were raising a motion that the city manager, they should be removed because he's incompetent. Apparently there was a budget given to them for that, the donation for floods, So the city manager did not use those funds. So he was taking them back to the national treasury. So the EFF was like, no man, this city manager is useless, is incompetent. So they wanted to remove him and also the mayor of the city. So then it started to be a squabble. They were throwing blows and blows with securities, of which I applaud the efforts and the work of the EFF. But to me, that thing of being in violence and fighting, it doesn't help. Why do they do that? So did you see that?
No, but I know what you are talking about because it happens more often in Parliament. So remember, the EFF defines itself as a radical movement. So radicalism by its nature, the term refers to using any form or any means necessary to reach your goal.
Radical doesn't mean physical. You can be radical, but don't be physical. You still can be radical by saying things radically to push your point so that people can hear. You don't have to engage yourself in fighting. It's too low for me.
So in politics, you are either radical or diplomatic. So when you are diplomatic, is whereby you are going to act responsibly, considering what might happen and considering the consequences of every action that you take. But when it comes to radicalism, we do not care of the consequences. That is why even Fidel Castro says homeland or death. So it means he's going to do anything necessary, even if it means putting his life on the line. So what he meant by homeland or death is that nothing can get between him and the revolution. even if it means death, therefore they are open to it. So that is what defines radicalism. Historically, it has always been like that. It cannot be polished or to be portrayed as trying to be civil or I don't know how to put it, maybe diplomatic, as I've said. So in radicalism, you do not care about the consequence. What you care about is getting the change that you want. And then the issue of municipal managers returning the funds to the national treasury.
And I think it was 1.2 billion.
It's a common occurrence in most of the municipalities. And most especially in Eastern Cape. I remember last year there was a certain figure which was returned to the treasury. So I don't know why they are not holding those people accountable, because when you return money, it means there was no service delivered.
It shows
to the people.
That's incompetence at its best.
Is how can you not manage to provide service if the funds are available? So you ask yourself, what are those people doing in those offices every day when they go to work?
Yeah. So the motion, you agree with the motion of removing that city manager at eThekwini?
I don't want to be political on this platform, but I would say...
No, you are not choosing sides. From what you say, you are saying if that city manager was returning, it means no service delivery was made to the
Yes.
So I'm saying, are you for the motion that he should be removed?
I hold the view that there must be consequence for bad performances of managers.
So you won't answer it like straight up.
So if the manager is not delivering the services, then why is he still occupying the chair? Otherwise, we are driven by service delivery to the people. So if we have city managers not delivering the services, then we have to ask ourselves critical questions. Why are we having him on that portfolio respectively? So yes.
Makes sense. So what's on your mind? What did you come across? What's up?
In terms of what?
In politics, anything that you might have seen that I don't know.
That is making round recently.
Yeah.
There is this burning issue of Julius Malema. I think he was addressing Gauteng delegates.
Okay, I saw that yesterday, right?
Yeah, he was addressing his cadres, the ground forces. And then in his speech, he made a controversial statement that we do not support Mapoko.
Yes, I was watching it.
We support rugby, we love rugby. The people of Eastern Cape have been playing rugby even before the white people came. So it is not a white man's sport. We do love rugby, but we are against the name Mapoko and the springbok is a symbolic animal for the rugby national team, and the springbok colors. He's saying it's a representation of the apartheid government, because remember, those are the same colors that were worn during apartheid government. And then it's a controversial statement, because remember the atmosphere now, people are happy about the Springboks, people are celebrating the win, people were excited about the rugby, and now Malema is taking the most unpopular view to say no.
Yes, I was also shocked when he like said in that statement about Amapaopo. But then it kind of made sense. But I'm not 100% for the view. But then you can continue.
Yeah, yes, because if you can look at the way things transformed into the democratic dispensation, most of the things that were a representation of apartheid government were changed. You can look at the police van. It was changed from that yellow one, the green and yellow is to these lighter ones now. They are white in color, majority of them. So there were changes. Certain changes were made in terms of trying to erase that view that we are moving into a new dispensation. So in terms of the sport, I think there has not been much transformation in the sporting industry.
Rugby specifically.
Yeah, in general, because we are not advocating for black people only. I'm also advocating for white people to have an access to play football. We need to see a representation of white people in our football team. So the transformation should be race blind. It should not focus on a certain race.
But for soccer,
yes.
I wouldn't say it's black dominated because of what happened in the past. I remember we had the likes of Dean Fairman. He was playing. They are selecting according to talent, but the view that was shared by my name is that rugby, whites, they have like an advantage of some sort. And also for cricket, now you can see there's a balance there.
Yes.
There are white people and also KG, black people.
So yeah, remember Coach Scott, at the center of every problem is our politicians and our government. So there are many people who are not exposed to rugby as a sport. In every community, I think you will never walk across a community and not find a football ground.
Yes,
but you can count. From where I come from, I've never seen a rugby field. So it means that people from that area will be shy in terms of rugby knowledge and how it should be played. So that is what makes it less popular in the black communities. The government is not providing the equipment.
The government is not doing enough.
Is to transform the sporting activities in our country and in various provinces. Yes, that is the case. And also this issue of the national team having visited Joan Rupert's farm.
It was a boiling issue.
It boggles my head. Why would they visit a private citizen when they cannot come to a province like Limpopo? It's one of the biggest provinces in our country. A province like Limpopo was not visited to parade the cathedral. So are we not part of South Africa or what? I wonder.
I still don't understand even now. Why would they go to a certain individual? Because this tour, I believe it should go like from city to city. It doesn't go from city to an individual.
Yeah, but it was the case.
But you will never know. Speaking of that briefing that was held by the EFF, at the end they asked Malema to sing the Killer Man.
Yes.
He said when he's about to reach that part that says kiss the boy, he never said that part. He only ended on the part of saying pow. And I was like, okay, he went to court and won that. Was it a political action that he didn't want to raise noise again about that? Because he won the case. That charge is not a hate speech. But he never said it yesterday.
Yeah, he's a tricky person, Julius Malema. You can never predict him. So in most cases, he does the controversial things with purpose or an intent to grasp media attention. He thrives on the attention that he gets from everyone, and that is what made him the most popular politician in our country, despite never being a president. So I think that was also intentional. Maybe he read the room there that it is not a proper place to do it. Yeah, he's good. He's very good at reading the room, the temperature. Even this issue of Amabobo, he used it to grasp the attention. He wants to raise a political discourse whereby people will be debating about that. Because even now, if I can check my Twitter account, I know that issue will be number one on the list. So I think we have a problem.
I hope it's not happening. Let me just check it quickly. I think it's so on. Sorry for that. Like I've alluded last time, we were having a problem with cameras and cameramen and whatnot. We're using a small thing to take our videos. So now there was something buzzing here on my ear. So I wanted to check that. Sorry for leaving the camera. So
it's still intact.
Yeah, I think it's still working. It might happen for the second time. It's so hot. That's why we are drinking water, guys. It's so hot. There's this issue that I wanted to raise. Just let it slip my mind now. What is it now? It's slipped.
Is it rugby related?
No, it's not rugby related, man. Okay. Oh, I almost said it, the S word. It's the issue of NSFAS.
Oh,
yes. That is an issue. I heard that 47 billion went missing in NSFAS. Then they fired the CEO. And to my mind, it's like, how can one person, an individual, misuse 47 billion alone? Because it means like the whole management of NSFAS is malfunctioning.
They should be fired because it's a systematic operation.
Yes.
We cannot be responsible for so much budget alone. So I think in most cases, whenever there is a problem, the top officials wants to get someone to use as a scapegoat. They throw someone under the bus just to repel the bad publicity or just to act as if they are acting against corruption.
And this thing, I'm not sure that it's throwing someone under the bus. I think people are taking the fall. Maybe they give them an envelope, take this, you'll be set for life, and take the fall. Because there's no way that person would make 47 billion disappear alone. No way.
Yeah, what I can tell you is that corruption is a syndicate. Yeah, it's a syndicate which involves many spheres, many people, high-profile people. The law enforcement is complicit in corruption because some of them are involved.
Yeah.
So even if you want to one day rise and become a corrupt leader, you must know you are not going to do it alone. Otherwise, you will fall the next day. So the people that you see who are corrupt and they still see the light of the day, it is because they have organized the system to work in their favor.
It's a syndicate, yeah.
Yes, it's a syndicate. It is not easy to deal with corruption because it is not an individual that is involved. Because that issue can also be related to this one of NSFAS having over, I think, 100,000 ghost students who are receiving allowances.
So there are people who are not receiving. Real people who are not receiving.
And there are people who are receiving who are not accepted into the scheme, financial aid scheme. But there are those who have their jobs, they are privileged to be managers and officers in those public offices. They use the funds for their own benefit, even though they don't need them. So it's an issue of greed and corruption that is very prevalent in African countries.
And I don't get this arrogance. Where is it's coming from? Because they know that people will notice that something is wrong, but they still have the courage and the arrogance to go on with this thing. Because at first there were these 4 companies that were in fact they are still providing for students. They are what do we call them? Service providers. Yes, they are providing their funds to the learners or to the students rather. So these 4 companies, they are so incompetent to an extent that when they issue the funds to the students, they charge them. Remember when I was at varsity, we used to get 1.5 for the monthly allowance. You 1.5 goes to your account exactly.
Yeah,
you receive 1.5. So now there was a challenge of people that were getting 1.320, another student 1.4. So it differs because of the charges. Yeah. So how can they charge a poor student for the fact that a student is getting NSFAS, it's a grant. So it means he cannot afford or she cannot afford. How can we then tax that person?
Yeah, it's a problem because these service providers are not selected on merits. Remember this current one which is trending, Isaac. I'm not sure. Yeah, Isaac is responsible for the dispensing of allowances in the University of Limpopo. So most students are complaining that Isaac is making late payments. Whenever there are payments, they are delayed. Some of the payments are not complete. You find maybe you will have shortages, just like we have alluded. And then when the minister was asked about it in Parliament, he made an assertion that some of the service providers did not meet the standard criteria to serve.
Why not terminate the contract immediately? Immediately after finding that, why not terminate their contract?
I remember politicians, they would say we are going to establish a commission of inquiry to look into this matter. It's another opportunity for them to give someone a job in that portfolio to hit the commission. So that's why we do not have law enforcement in our country. I remember in the past we used to have the scorpions.
Yeah,
the scorpions were were not complacent in terms of fighting crime and corruption. But today
we have hawks, also.
Yeah, they are the most captured and compromised institution in our country. I can give you an example of this issue of Pala Farm. Investigation on how the president was having undeclared sum of foreign currency in his farm. So 3 years later now, the Hawks are still saying we are investigating. We have had the public protector who has released a report despite having limited access and resources in terms of investigating. We have had the section 1, was it the section 18149? I don't remember. That one which was headed by retired Chief Justice to establish whether President Ramaphosa has contravened the PRICA Act. Yes. So the commission completed its work in 28 days. Kalega, which is the newly elected public protector, completed her work. I think it was within a space of 3 months as soon as she was given the case. But we have the Directorate for Priority Crimes, which is the Hawks now. They still have not released their report. So ask yourself the question, what are they doing there? So yeah, those guys are captured and compromised. They cannot serve their mandate. That is why I remember the words of Chief Justice Mugwengwe when he said there is an attempt to capture the judiciary. And remember, a captured judiciary cannot or will not be able to use the Constitution as a tool for transformation. So it means when you are captured, you cannot serve or deliver on your mandate. So yeah, a captured Directorate for Priority Crimes will not be able to serve its mandate. Criminals will still be out there. You can see it, the highest number, we are having the highest number of cash in transit is the highest. I don't think I've ever seen something like that in my life, where like every day a fatality is hijacked. When I was growing up, we used to be afraid of those cars, but these days, you can even rub your back against it.
Slowly but surely, things are changing and are taking the wrong direction.
Yeah, we are becoming a lawless country, to say the least. Even you can see the way people drive on the roads, because always a fish rots from the head. If the top people, the top officials are willing to break the law, the citizens and the civilians will follow and do the same. So it starts at the top. The little things, remember when you are a president, you are the first citizen. Everything you do, you must advocate for the rule of law. You must advocate for the Constitution. So you shouldn't be seen doing things that are controversial. You must protect your image at all costs. That is why sometimes you don't even speak for yourself. You have a spokesperson to speak when you speak. Yes. Because your message must resonate with the people that you are leading and those that are even against your leadership skills. That is the problem we have.
Okay, I think we have said a lot. We have said a lot for today. So most of the things that I still want to talk about, I think we're going to talk about them in the next episode. So guys, thank you for joining us up until this far. We really appreciate the effort that you are pushing this channel, because by watching this channel it does help a lot, because after that there's a possibility that this video might appear on someone else. So please guys, don't let us down. Like, don't give up on us. We might be creating the content for you, but it also helps us like to equip our knowledge also, because we have to look for this information that we are giving out here. So if there's something that we say and you feel like it's not like that, you feel free to write that in the comment section so that we can know where to fix and what else can we do to make this content be what the people want. Because we're not shooting this for us, but we're giving you this content. We're trying to politically conscientize the youth of South Africa. Please watch these videos. If you are tuning in now to this one, please go back to episode 1 and episode 2 so that you can know what this content is all about. So in other words, I wanted to just thank you so much. Please subscribe Follow us on TikTok. What else can you say just to encourage people to bear with us?
To emphasize your point in terms of appealing to the viewers that they need to be constructive in their criticism so that we can grow ourselves. Yes, on the review sections, we are open to any form of criticism as long as it is constructive, as long as we'll be able to use that to grow. Because as an individual or as a person, you need others to tell you how you can do some of the things right to develop for the better. That is why there is always this say that no man is an island. You cannot complete yourself as an individual. You need others to take you to where you desire to be. So for you to reach that goal, you need to be able to have a listening ear. Do not be shy from criticism. This is a lesson I'm giving to everyone who is watching, that in every space that you occupy, you must always be open to constructive criticism.
Yes.
Take notes of every negative thing people say about you, because those are the things that matters the most.
Yes.
Because the positive ones, you already have them. When they say you are a good speaker, you don't need to hear that.
You already have it.
But if they see that you need to correct this and that is what you need to take note of. That is my knowledge for today, and I think we'll still meet again. We'll share so much, and I'm also hoping that you would share your knowledge with us on the comment sections. Like and subscribe. The only reason why I accepted the invitation from this guy to be the co-host is because I am supporting his initiative to send out the message, to speak to our people back at home, to show that there are still people who care about this country, who want to grow this country. You can change the world in every space you occupy. Whatever he's doing here is going to change the world. Even if he doesn't manage to change the world, he can be able to spark your mind back at home to go and change the world by registering to vote and elect a new government in the coming elections. Thank you.
Okay, I just wanted to say something. Speaking of critics, do you know Malcolm X?
Malcolm X, I'm very fond of him. I read his books a lot.
There's this quote. He said, if you have no critics, you are likely not to succeed. So that's very important, and that's very important to say.
Context.
So guys, I think we will talk about AfriForum on the next episode. I want us to talk about AfriForum just a little bit. There's something I want to say about that. So please follow us, subscribe on YouTube. I always end my videos by saying that subscribe to Road to 2024 SA elections. Stay informed, stay empowered, make your vote count. This is Case Code from Gwede with the General PM Mantebiane. We are out.